In this episode,
What a lot of people don't know is that when I first moved here, I had a horrible time. It seemed like everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. I'm someone who likes adventure, who likes to travel, who just wants to learn from new places and new experiences in life. And I just felt like I could do anything at that point. There was so many days where I would just drive home from work crying the whole way home. Like the whole way from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, I would just cry, 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 cry. I just didn't want to have this perception that I went down a notch. Like I just thought like in your career you're supposed to move up and up and up and up. And the fact that I went from here to what I perceived as down here was just making me feel horrible. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Aulona Alchemy podcast. So, have you ever been stuck in a negative thinking loop? Have you ever had something that you wanted to manifest go completely wrong, go completely bonkers, and you just can't figure out how to get your life back on track? Can't figure out why this is happening to you or how to just get life going back in your favor again? Well, I certainly have. This was the case for me when I actually moved to Dubai. See, what a lot of people don't know is that when I first moved here, I had a horrible time. It seemed like everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. It wasn't until I finally discovered this manifesting method that I was able to turn my life around. It's the manifesting method called choose again method, and it's actually much more than a manifesting method. It is a way to reprogram your mind for success. The choose again method is by author Gabby Bernstein, but in addition to teaching you how to use it in this episode so that you can manifest the life beyond your wildest dreams, I'm actually going to share with you a very, very personal story of my trials and tribulations when I first moved here to Dubai. What went well, what went horribly wrong, and how I managed to finally get my life on track, and how I was able to manifest the life beyond my wildest dreams that I saw for myself, that I envisioned for myself when I had the dream of moving here to Dubai. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's get into it. So let me take you back to 2018 when I first got the big idea to move to Dubai. So at the time, I was living in Boston, Massachusetts. I was actually living in this beautiful mansion in Newton, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, with my sister. Best years ever. And I was working as a civil engineer and assistant project manager for Harvard Business School. Like that was my client, and that's where I was stationed every single day. I watched the building go up from groundbreaking all the way to handover on site at the Harvard Business School campus, pouring all my love into this project. I felt so fulfilled and happy. I was on top of the world. I was in love with my job. I was in love with my life. Everything was going swimmingly for me. Like I manifested that. I really did work hard and work smart to get to where I was in my career, in my life. I was so at peace, and I was really just feeling like on top of the world. So naturally, being the alchemist that I am, I chose to make a major move and major change. I chose to move to Dubai. When I announced that decision, like everyone that knew me was just with their jaws to the floor. Like, why? Why are you leaving this life behind? What is pushing you to do this? But I'm someone who likes adventure, who likes to travel, who just wants to learn from new places and new experiences in life. And I just felt like I could do anything at that point. Basically, I got, for many reasons, which I won't get too deep into, but I got a calling in my heart to go to Dubai, and I followed it. Like it's as simple as that. And for someone like me, following my intuition, getting a hunch to do something, sometimes it's just all I need. I felt called to go there, so I did. Um, Not to mention, like, as a civil engineer, project manager, Dubai is the home of the most immaculate buildings in the world. It is so cool. It looks so cool to me. And a lot of you don't know this, but I also lived in Spain for 6 months. I did study abroad there, and that experience changed my life. Like, just seeing how different people live and interact. I wanted more of that. I was not ready to stop learning from the world. So there I there I was, making that decision to move to Dubai. At the time, I literally thought that Dubai would roll out the red carpet for me when I got there. I just envisioned that once I arrived to Dubai, they'd be like, "Oh no, no, we've been waiting for you. You amazing, successful, talented little engineer. We've been waiting for you. Here's the red carpet. What job would you want? What apartment would you like? What is it? We will give it to you." That is how I envisioned it going for me. I really felt like, if I could make it in Boston, the creme de la creme of everything, that I could make it anywhere. However, when I got to Dubai, things were very, very, very different from what I expected. Basically, in 2018, there was like a mini crisis going on in Dubai in terms of like job stability. There's always economic upturns and downturns everywhere, all around the world. And I don't know about the whole world situation, but here in Dubai, it was kind of an economic downturn. So there was a lot of fear in the air. Like, I got here and I would hear stories of people just abandoning their cars because they couldn't pay them off and running away. And you really would on the street see like super dusty old cars that have super dusty, maybe even nice cars, but covered in sand because they had just been left and abandoned there. So fear was in the air. Plus, what happened? The job that I had lined up from Boston fell through. Like, I quit my job in Boston. I quit everything. I packed up my life. I got to Dubai. And when I got here, that job fell through. Like, I didn't even know such a thing could happen, but it did. So for the first 3 months that I lived here, I didn't even have a job. Like, I thought I was coming to start working directly. Nope. For 3 months, I just had to look and look and look for jobs. It was scary. Now I would probably love to have a nice 3 month break, but at the time I was very much starting to get scared. I was afraid I was going to run out of money. Like, I was living off my savings, and I was just thinking I'm going to have to go back to Boston with my tail between my legs, and having given up. Fortunately, I did find a job. So after that 3 month period, I found one, and I immediately just got to work. The thing about that time is there was the economic downturn. People weren't really hiring as much. It wasn't a hiring market. And I found that they really, really, really valued local experience. So that red carpet treatment I was waiting for, like, it was hard to even get my foot in the door. And when I did, they would really ask for local experience. And I didn't have that yet. So I took the first job I could get. And I was living in Dubai. This job was in Abu Dhabi. At least they stationed me in Abu Dhabi. They did give me a car, which was nice. But I had to drive to Abu Dhabi every day, there and back. So that's an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. And basically, I just like perceived this job to be beneath me because the job title was very meh. It was not, certainly wasn't a level up. The company was a good company, but just the industry and the work I was doing, like, long story short, without getting into the nitty gritty, I was very much unpleased with the job, with the job title, with my salary, with everything. Like, this was not what I had moved out to Dubai for. So that happened. So I took this job just to get my foot in the door. But I was very much like not happy there. And so I start getting to work, and then on top of everything I just described, I personally perceived my direct managers as extremely toxic, like the worst people ever. Okay, now looking back, they're just background characters in my story, to be honest. But I'm just giving you the perspective that I felt at that time. And this is all leading somewhere. I need you to be in it with me to understand how far down things went before I discovered how to turn them back around. So there I was, job that was beneath me in my perception at the time, salary that was beneath me, everything that I perceived at the time as beneath me, and um, like a very, very toxic work environment that was extremely dog eat dog. Like I had never been in an environment that cutthroat before where it just felt like someone was always gunning for me. So what ended up happening, I kind of got into this survival mode of I needed to persevere. I needed to win. Basically, I saw it going this way. I said, like, Aulona, you can either give up and go home now. That was always an option. Or you can just like go full force and make it and come out on top. And I'm not a quitter. So I was like, I am not going to let this situation defeat me. Um, I just wasn't ready to give up yet. Like, although things were going horribly, again, I keep saying as I perceived at the time. At the time, I perceived things to be going absolutely horribly for me. Like, I felt like I had taken a huge downgrade in this whole move out here. And I really thought it would be like a career boost for me. So I remember being quite miserable about that, but I was not ready to give up. So I told myself, you're just gonna go all in, you're gonna win, you're gonna come out on top, like beast mode activated. And let me tell you, like there was so many days where I would just drive home from work crying the whole way home, like the whole way from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. I would just cry, 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 cry. Like the way there, I would be, on my way to work, fresh in the morning, getting ready for a new day. But by the time I would drive back, it would just all hit me like the defeat of the day, how much I didn't like my job, how much I didn't like the people around me, and then just the long, treacherous drive back after such a long day. I would just cry, girl. I would cry the whole way back. But still, although I would cry, I would just like I wasn't ready to give up. And of course, after work, I would get home, I'd freshen up, and then I'd go out with my boyfriend, I'd go out with my friends, and I would just like have the best time ever exploring this new city. So this misery I'm describing to you was also juxtaposed with like an amazing adventure. So when I would be out exploring and discovering the new city, I was having fun. It just a huge chunk of my day was filled with this toxic work environment and unhealthy thought process that I was going through. So let me tell you guys what happened. I got into this mode where I just had to make it do or die, like crazy, have to make it energy. Like I just had to make it. I just kept picturing failing and going back to Boston. Like literally, I will keep using this expression, but it just describes how I perceived it at the time. I just kept imagining failing and going back to Boston with my tail between my legs. Like it didn't work out. I wasn't cut out for it. I didn't make it. And that, it was just like such a fearful thought for me. Another thing that was consuming me was just like feeling like I needed to move up and level up immediately because I just didn't want to have this perception that I went down a notch. Like I just thought like in your career, you're supposed to move up and up and up and up. And the fact that I went from here to what I perceived as down here was just making me feel horrible. So I went into beast mode, you guys. Like I was like, these people want a dog eat dog world. come at me. And I really just worked really, really, really hard. I mean, that's what that meant to me. I just gave all my energy into work so that I could make it. So let me tell you how I discovered that I had actually gone overboard. But there's a limit to that because you can really go overboard like I did. So one day I'm just driving to work, and by this time I had gotten stationed out of Abu Dhabi. Alhamdulillah, I was working in Dubai now, so the drive wasn't as long. Um, and I was just driving to work, and I remember looking over at the clock. It must have been around like 8 a.m. And I remember just being so angry. Like I was so angry. And I remember just feeling so uncomfortable. I was like, wait a second, what's going on right now? Like, why am I so angry? Uh, I remember just like looking around, and no one was in the car with me, and I hadn't had any human interactions yet that day, and no one cut me off on the road. So I remember just having this realization of feeling like so angry in my body and not understanding why. And all I could think was like, it is only 8 a.m. You haven't talked to anyone, you haven't seen anyone. Why are you so freaking angry? Like, what kind of person wakes up this angry? It was just such an uncomfortable realization for me. I felt ashamed. Like, I felt ashamed of myself. I didn't recognize myself. It was part of my identity to be a positive person. Like I was always known for being so positive that people would get annoyed with me and be like, "Oh, would you just shut up already and like quit it already? Give it a break, you know?" And all of a sudden I had turned into this like person I didn't recognize. So I remember that moment feeling so ashamed and just horrible and not understanding what was happening, but just knowing that I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I didn't want to feel that way in my body, like so angry and upset. And so I didn't really know what was going on. Like I said, I had work and I had my life and things were moving fast and I was just, trying to level up and live my life and enjoy my life. So I didn't really understand what was going on, but I knew I needed to change. So I did what I knew how to do in the past, and that is I dove into my self-help books. I dove back into spirituality and manifestation. All that time since I moved here, I hadn't really meditated. I hadn't really like done any of the inner work. I was busy doing life. But that uncomfortable realization forced me to go back into my books, my spiritual healing journey. And so I read the book Super Attractor by Gabrielle Bernstein. And in there, I discovered the choose again method. Now, let me put you on because this literally changed my life. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how. And I'm going to show you how to start using it immediately. So the choose again method will help you reprogram your mind. It's not marketed that way in the book, but after years of research on this topic, it literally reprograms your mind. I'm going to talk about that more. And it reprograms your mind for success and for successful manifestation. But Gabby describes it very simply. So I'm going to start by putting it to you the way Gabby does and the way Aulona does, really. Okay, so first, before the method starts at all, I'm going to need you to just start scanning your body throughout the day. And the way that is best to do it is that every hour on the hour, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, just make it a point to check in with yourself. Check in with yourself, meaning scan your body and just see, how am I feeling right now? Oh, it's 8 o'clock. How am I feeling right now? It's 9 o'clock. How am I feeling right now? You have to actually proactively ask yourself and check in. Otherwise, you don't notice. Okay. So step 0, which I will add, step 0, just start scanning your body throughout the day. Make it a practice. Okay. Choose a time. I like to do every hour on the hour, okay? And if you're feeling happy, if you're feeling content, fine, keep going. Now you begin the choose again method. So, step one of the 3-step choose again. Step one, notice the thought. Notice the thought that you just had, which made you feel angry, upset, scared, feel fearful, or anything low vibe. What thought did you just have that made you feel that way? Because there's always a thought linked to the feeling. So you need to just scan your mind and think, what was the last thing I just thought about, which made me feel this way? Step two, once you notice the thought that just made you feel that, once you notice the thought that put you in a low vibration, step two is forgive the thought. That means just let it go. Forgive it. Forgiving means you don't need to judge yourself for just having that thought. You don't need to latch onto it. Just let it go. Let it go. Forgive it away. Don't waste any more energy on it than you have to. Okay, step two is forgive the thought. Step three is choose again. So now you're going to choose a better thought, a thought which makes you feel better. It could be anything in the world. Just reach for a thought which will make you feel that much better, like thinking about your cat or something like that. So let me show you how I applied this method to transform my life in Dubai. So there I was again, driving in the car on the way to work, only now I was equipped with a new knowledge from the book Super Attractor. So I started applying the choose again method. So again, I was driving to work. I noticed myself feeling dread, like real dread and anxiety in my chest. Again, around 8 in the morning. And again, I was like, what the hell? But this time, I was in the habit of scanning my body and I actually applied the choose again method. So notice the thought. Step one, notice the thought. So what was the thought that I was having that was triggering those emotions? Well, I was actually thinking about work. I was like on the way to work and I was always thinking about the meeting I was just about to go into. And I was like trying to prep myself and just trying to be prepared for anything that could happen in that dog eat dog environment. So I had by that point become kind of like a football coach. I would run through every play that could possibly happen. And I would be like, well, if this person does this, then I'm going to do that. If this person does this, I'm going to do that. Like I would think of every single scenario in my mind and I'd be like, oh, if they dare say this, then I am going to say that. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I know. But what happened is I was just full out in survival mode. But before I get there, just let me run through the steps. So I noticed that the thought I just had was just me preparing for my meeting. Like I thought that was normal. I was just thinking about my meeting and just trying to prepare because I was driving there. But I just followed the steps. So I said, you know what? This thought is making me feel bad. I'm going to follow the steps. Step two, forgive the thought. So I was told I could just forgive it and let it go. So I had to stop thinking about my meeting and think about something else. So choose again. So I chose something else. Like what the choose again was, I can't remember at this time anything. Like I would just start turning on the radio or Spotify or whatever and listening to a song that I liked. I would think about, puppies, kitties, like anything at all that would just make me feel better. I just choose anything else other than work. So at first, this was kind of counterintuitive for me because, like I said, I thought I was doing the right thing. Now, this is what happens to people. People work really, really hard on their dreams, but they are not always working smart. And this is what I was doing. Like I was grinding, you guys. I was grinding. And I'm a very greedy person. Like I'm no stranger to putting in the work and grinding. But in this case, it was not helping me. It was not serving my intention. So we need to get honest about what we want and what is the best way to get there. So in this case, yeah, I was working really hard at work and I was thinking about it a lot and I was kind of trying to calculate all the possible scenarios so that I could plan for them. But I was acting out of fear and I had gotten into an incredibly stressed out state. Now, let me tell you something about stress. Stress is a biological response in our body that is meant to serve us in life or death situations. Like, stress is there so that if you are in a cage with a lion trapped, your stress instinct, your stress response will kick in and it will make you hyper focused on the lion. Why? Because if you truthfully are in the wild and you encounter something like a lion, all you need to do to survive is hyper focus on that lion, on that situation, so you can get out safely. So it is a very good biological response in our body. But our body cannot perceive the difference between a real lion in real life or a lion that we have made up in our minds. So when we are thinking about these stressful situations, our body cannot tell the difference between what's really going on outside or what's just only going on in our mind. And so imagine your body living every single day as if it's stuck in a cage with a lion. That's chronic stress for you. Chronic stress will have you feeling like you're stuck in a cage with a lion every single day, and it will have your body releasing all those associated chemicals. So when you are stressed, your body releases cortisol. And when you are happy, your body releases dopamine or serotonin. So literally, through your thoughts, you change your biology in your body. Now just imagine the horrible, horrible, horrible effects that happen to your body when every single day it is pumping out crazy cortisol because you're so stressed out. That plus you get tunnel vision. Like I just mentioned with a lion, the way that you would hyper focus on the lion, you get tunnel vision in real life to the point where you can only see one perspective because you're so stressed out, you can't actually take a step back and see the bigger picture. So, long story short, it is good to work hard, it is good to be gritty, but it is not at all good to be in survival mode, to be in a state of stress. You need to manifest from a state of joy. It is good to feel good. So if you have crossed that line where you are just not feeling good in what you're doing, you need to focus on changing that immediately. And by the way, neuroscience supports this. So what the choose again method will do is that every single time you choose a happy thought, you are actually forming new neural pathways in your mind because you are breaking the old habit, which is formed to a loop of cortisol and fearful thoughts, chemicals that are triggered by fear, and then fearful thoughts, chemicals that are triggered by stress, and then stressful thoughts. This actually becomes like a addictive loop in your body, and then you end up doing it uncontrollably. That's what's dangerous. So what the choose again method does is it actively helps you break those bad habits, and it actually actively helps you recreate new ones, which will be literal neural pathways in your mind, which are linked to the lifestyle you want. Okay. So this, if you want to dig into it further, is, Hebb's law talks about it. Neurons that fire together wire together. That means the more you do something repeatedly, the more the neural pathways will become stronger in your mind and the more it will become second nature. So think about when you learned how to drive a car. When you were learning how to drive a car, you had to think about it very, very actively. You had to super focus on what you were doing. After a while, it became second nature to you to drive a car that you don't even have to think about it anymore. That's because the neural pathways in your mind are so strong that it just acts like a program. So similarly, when we constantly are in a loop of negative thoughts, those neural pathways literally become a path. It becomes a strong connection in your mind and it happens automatically. You need to reprogram your mind to think positively. You need to reprogram your mind to release serotonin and dopamine and keep your nervous system calm so you can get out of survival mode and so you can see the bigger picture. Because when you are in a state of joy and gratitude, things come to you with ease. So let me tell you what happened when I actually started applying the choose again method into my life and how my life went from that crazy, toxic, miserable situation to the amazing, beautiful life beyond my wildest dream that I have here in Dubai today. I started applying the choose again method immediately. I would do it every day on the way to work, and I would do it all day throughout work. So basically, like these people that I abhorred would come up to me at work, and they would, these energy succubuses would come up to me and say something that would normally throw off my whole day or try to mess with me or something. And I would also apply the choose again method on them whenever I would be encountered with someone or a situation which would drain me of my energy. I would just instantly forgive the thought and choose again, because I started really valuing my energy and seeing what was worth it and what was not worth it. Okay, so I was applying this method all day long. I would apply it to my own thoughts when I'm driving in the car, and I would even apply it to people and situations that would approach me. So I was not able to, in the moment, change my environment. I was able to change myself. So slowly I started applying this method. When people would come up to me and bother me, I would just say, you know what, instead of focusing on the jerky thing they just did, I'm going to disregard that and choose again. And I'm going to focus on something that's more related to me, more important and relevant to me. So I kept doing that, and I kept doing that until I eventually started having these epiphanies. Like, firstly, I programmed my mind and body out of survival mode. I was now going into a state of joy because I wasn't letting these things drain me of my energy anymore. I was actively choosing joy. I was actively changing my mind every day, reprogramming my mind around joy and gratitude. I remember, this thing is really hard for people to do when they hate their jobs. Like, how can they go to work being happy when they just hate their jobs and they're going to make their ends meet? The one way you can look at it is that no one is making you go there. No one is forcing you to go to work. Like, if you can just not go. You can just quit. But you're not quitting for a reason, because that job is serving a purpose in your life. It's probably giving you money, right? So rather than focusing on how much you hate everything, you can choose to focus on this right now is a means for me to move up. And I'm focusing on the fact that it's giving me money, it's helping me pay the bills. I'm focusing on the fact that it's allowing me to look for other jobs from a state of comfort. Because let's be honest, if you got fired unexpectedly, then that would make it much harder for you, right? So you can always choose what you want to focus on. So I started doing that. I started literally reprogramming my mind to focus on the good. What happened is I started having epiphanies. Like, first of all, when I was in that survival mode, I realized that I had gotten so obsessed in those work games that I just had to win at all costs that I actually lost myself. Like, I was trying to win, trying to come out on top. I thought that was my only solution. I thought I was doing the honorable thing. Like, look how hard I'm working, look how much I'm focusing. But I was not doing the right thing at all. All I was doing was depleting my energy. And once I got out of tunnel vision, I realized there was a different alternative this whole time. I didn't even have to play that game. Like, I didn't have to even engage with those people. Okay. And I realized I was acting out of fear. Obviously, I was acting that way because I was afraid to lose my job, because I felt like I had so much riding on this start here in Dubai that I did feel like, well, these people are trying to get rid of me. And if they succeed, then that will make things really hard for me. So I just didn't want that to happen. I was acting out of fear. But I had to come to the realization that, you know what, if anyone was able to succeed in making me lose my job, then that's not the job for me, because I'm there already doing everything that I could possibly be doing. I'm doing a good job. So if someone is able to somehow make it so that I'm no longer employed there, then so be it. Like, I had to come to that radical realization, which again wasn't easy, because I always had that fear of going back with my tail between my legs. But you know what? I told myself, like, if really even had to accept that if things didn't work out for me so much and I really did need to go back to Boston, then so be it. Like, that was then meant to be my path, and I cannot force and manipulate my way out of it. I just need to show up in the world and give it my all and do my best. And let the rest come as it may. That was a really radical, like, epiphany and decision that I made to just let go, And you do need to let go sometimes. You should never force something into existence. When you're doing manifestation the right way, you don't need to force it. Of course, you're gonna work hard. Of course, you're gonna get tired. Like look at the best, football players or singers, people who have quote unquote fun jobs. Like, they work hard to perfect their craft. You can expect to work hard, but you should find joy in the process. Okay, you shouldn't be in a place of stress and detrimental to your health type vibes. So I had to just relax, let it go, and I stopped focusing on those situations out of fear. I stopped trying to outsmart those situations. I just started going to work, giving it my all, and then going home and relaxing. And even when I was there, I just kept a joyful attitude. I focused on gratitude. And that went well. That went well for me. And then as I kept going, I actually reached an even deeper epiphany, because now I was like in this state of like more calm and more joy. And I could actually like look back at life, and all these epiphanies were coming to me. So what I also realized I was doing is that I was latching my self-worth onto my job description and my salary. So I felt so unworthy or so like ashamed that I didn't have the job title or the job opportunity that I wanted, which I envisioned for myself in Dubai. And it was like lowering my self-worth. Up until that point, I was always so praised at work, and I really had just moved up and up and up. Like, I'll go so far as to say I was seen as the shining rising star wherever I worked before. So this was another identity crisis for me, to like get to Dubai and have things go horribly. And the thing is, like, I had always, I guess without realizing it, maybe I had attached my self-worth to my job in the past because it was so easy to, because I was shining at it. So it felt good to do so. But the moment that things were going wrong, it felt really, really ugly for me to attach my self-worth to that job and to feel so down on myself. Up to the point where I realized, like, Aulona, what are you doing? You are literally so unhappy because you keep comparing yourself to what you had back in Boston or what you should have here in terms of your job title and your salary. But like, a human's worth is not measured by those things. Like, I had to have that epiphany and tell myself, look at all these amazing things you have going for you in your life. Like, you are traveling the world, you are living in this beautiful exotic place, you are growing as a person. Like, stop trying to measure your life and your self-worth by the amount of money or the salary you have or the job title or anything like that. That was such an important epiphany for me to have. It was such an important part of my character growth because it served me in becoming who I am today. By the way, today, not only do I have the career beyond my wildest dreams, I also have revenue streams outside of my civil engineering project management job. I'm killing it. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it because this is what it is. I've manifested it. I'm killing it in that regard. But I could not have reached this level of success if I did not have that realization first. So in the end, in moving to Dubai, I got exactly what I asked for and way, 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 way more. I wanted to learn from a new place. I wanted to grow. I wanted to develop my character. And I did exactly that. It just didn't look how I envisioned, and it didn't happen in my timeline. Like, I thought I had to get here and everything had to be perfect. No, actually, this place kind of had to break me so I could put myself back together again with all the right pieces. And I had to let go of what was no longer serving me. So attaching self-worth to our external achievements is not it. It's not it. And because I had that realization a long time ago, now I can go into so many endeavors. Like I launched so many projects, so many businesses, even the podcast, so many things. And I never go into it with this needy energy of like, this has to do good or like I'll be embarrassed or this. No, I just don't care because my job is just to show up in the world and to give it my all and to have fun. Like that's what you need to remember from all this. You just need to have fun. That epiphany stayed with me forever. And honestly, from that point on, since I started applying the choose again method, since I started reprogramming my mind and having those epiphanies and seeing the world in a different way, everything just skyrocketed for me exponentially because I was showing up into the world differently. I was no longer getting caught into these like nothing fights that didn't matter that were just wasting my energy. No, I was hyper focused on where I was going with joy and with appreciation and care for myself rather than showing up out of this needy like need to prove myself energy. And really that's what I was doing. Like I just was trying to prove myself to myself. I was trying to say like I was trying to prove that I made the right decision by moving out to Dubai. And I had made that so much changed on my career until I finally realized, like, girl, stop it. You don't need to prove to yourself or to anybody you made the right decision. You just need to enjoy life. And that's what I did. And that's when everything started going amazingly for me. So the last thing I'll say is that people are really afraid to feel good. People are afraid to feel good when they don't have everything they want because they feel like they're sending a signal to the universe that like this is enough for them. Meanwhile, it's not. That is not the case. You need to feel good to manifest. Actually, feeling good puts your body biologically in a state where you can operate so much better, think so much smarter, move so much wiser. And it puts your heart and your mind in coherence. It really just lets you operate at your optimal level, just like the limitless pill, right? Well, you need to make your body happy, joyful, grateful. That's the limitless pill. So that is the key to turning your life around. And you need to do it before your situation changes. Remember the situation I described to you, the doggy dog environment, the toxic boss, and everything. Let me tell you, without getting into the nitty gritty, like as soon as I changed my mentality, all those things melted away. Even within the same company, before I left that company, like all those things melted away and life just got exponentially better. So let me summarize the choose again method for you so you can start applying it immediately into your life. Step 0, make it a habit to scan your body all day long, on the hour, every hour. Just check in with yourself and say, how am I feeling right now? Take a moment to scan. Step 1, notice the thought. Anytime you are feeling bad, low vibe, angry, sad, upset, out of whack, not good, notice the thought. Notice the thought you just had that made you feel that way. Step 2, forgive the thought. Let that thought go. Forgive yourself for having a thought. Don't judge yourself. Don't waste any energy on it. Guys, we have so many thoughts a day that our mind can't even process them. So just don't get in this shame mentality of why did you just have that thought? Just let it go. Forgive the thought. That's step 2. And then step 3, choose again. Choose a better feeling thought. Choose any thought that'll help you feel better. Guys, I'm going to close this by sharing the last bit of my fun story. Looking back on when I moved to Dubai and those days where I used to just cry in the car, feeling like an utter failure. And now what my life is like in Dubai. First of all, as a result of the choose again method, because I noticed that I was angry in the car and I was like so startled by that and felt so uncomfortable at that realization, I made it a point to make my car rides like the best thing of my day, like the best part of my day. So not only did I like do the choose again method, which by the way becomes second nature at some point. Once you reprogram your mind so much, it becomes second nature. You don't have to do it as actively. Now you're programmed in a loop of feeling good. So it's just like driving the car. You need to get yourself there. In doing that, I started asking myself, like, what more can I do to feel good? Like, what can I do to feel good in the mornings? And I know I get a latte every single morning, like latte queen. I get a latte every single morning, guys. I don't care if I'm going late to work. I'm sorry. Like everyone at work already knows this anyway about me. I don't care if I'm running late or something. I every single day stop and get my latte because the amount of joy it brings me to have a nice hot toasty coffee in the car on my drive is just like incomparable to anything else. The extra 5 minutes, extra 10 minutes that I might get to work late, well, it doesn't matter because this makes me so much happier and productive that I prioritize my joy above all else. So every single day I get myself a nice latte on the way to work. And on the way to work in the car, on the way to work and on the way back, by the way, guys, I always have like the vibiest music playing. I have a very nice car that I drive around in because it's like one of my homes. You know, I spend a lot of time in there. And I always put on really good music or I'll listen to a podcast or even an audiobook. But like my car rides have become my sanctuary now. They are my happy place. And that was the place that was the home for a lot of like stress and tears for me in Dubai. I totally alchemized it and turned it around. Now there's nothing that I love more than driving around in my car because it's my happy place. And it has just snowballed into so much more. Like now I've even join the 5 a.m. club where I wake up. I swim in my amazing pool. I just take the elevator downstairs. I swim in my amazing pool in the morning, and then I go use the sauna and steam room in my building. I go up to my apartment. I shower, get ready, have my coffee overlooking the Burj Khalifa, have just like an amazing morning, and then drive to work with latte number two or whatever it is that I'm taking. The amount of transformation that has happened from those early days to now, I swear all of it started inwardly first. And something you can do right now. Like, I'm so excited to have shared this with you guys because I can't wait for you to start using it and to turn your life around. I really hope you enjoyed the story. It came straight from my heart. I'm so happy that I can actually use my like trials and tribulations here in Dubai to help you guys. I know everyone's always so curious about the Dubai story. So there was one piece of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you so much. Take care. See you on the next one.